welcome to Tiny Tide's Storytime. My name is Elizabeth, and today we'll be reading The Wave of the Sea Wolf, written and illustrated by David Wisniewski. From the misty land between sea and mountain, the tops of the tallest trees can rarely be seen. But when the clouds part, a marvelous thing can be observed against the sky, a war canoe trapped in the trunk of a lofty cedar. The tree has grown around the battered craft, lifting it higher with each passing year. Though its painted prow is splintered, the canoe seems to sail proudly on an airy ocean of green and gray. How did it come to rest in this unlikely place? The few who remember will tell you this. Long ago in the land of the Tlingit, there lived a young princess named Chokin. She was the only daughter in a family of many sons and was admired for her intelligence as well as her beauty. One day, Chokin and her friends planned to gather salmon berries. The fresh fruit would be welcome after the winter diet of dried fish. "You may go," said her mother, "but stay away from the mouth of the bay. Great waves suddenly appear there, and many lives have been lost." "Perhaps Ganakadet, the sea wolf, makes those waves," said Chokin. "Anyone who sees Ganakadet is sure to receive great wealth and honor." "And what use are wealth and honor after drowning?" replied her mother. "Hear me, do not go there." The girls beached their canoe on the far shore of the bay and entered the forest. Their faces fell when they saw bushes bearing unripe fruit. "Let's keep walking," said Chokin. "Perhaps riper berries are ahead, where the trees let more sunlight through." "But that is at the mouth of the bay," one of her friends protested. "Mother warned us about the water," reasoned Chokin, "not the land," and she led the way. The girls found plenty of bright yellow fruit. Her basket filled, the princess climbed onto the great trunk of a fallen tree to survey the calm water. "I see no danger here," she declared. At that moment, the rotten wood beneath her gave way, and Chokin plunged into darkness. From the bottom of the hollow trunk, Chokin gazed upward at the anxious faces of her friends. "I'm not hurt," she called, "but I can't get out. Go back to the village, fetch a rope and one of my brothers." "Should one of us stay with you?" "No," said Chokin. "Two can paddle faster than one." The girls began to cry. "We can't just leave you," they sobbed. "That is foolish," the princess chided them. "How can you come back with help if you don't go away? Now, hurry." Alone in the dark hollow, Chokin heard the rustle of leaves. Startled, she peered into the gloom and saw a scrawny bear cub. "Poor thing," cried Chokin. She felt about for scattered berries and fed them to the starving creature. The cub raised its head and howled. Scampering toward the hole, it tried desperately to climb out. "Hush, little one," the princess commanded. "Help will be here soon." Suddenly, a deep rumble vibrated through the tree. The dead timber began to groan and creak. Chokin braced herself as the huge trunk swayed back and forth. The bear cub pressed close to her side. Then she heard a roar, a sound beyond the power of man or animal. "Ganakadet," cried Chokin. Hoping to catch sight of the sea wolf, she scrambled to peer through the hole. A frothing wall of water was bearing down on them. The wave crashed into the trunk and sent it spinning through the forest. Great booms shuddered through the wood as it collided with rocks and trees. Chokin clapped her hands over her ears against the grinding and splintering. She was sure their clumsy vessel was being torn apart. At last, the huge tree ground to a halt. Salt water gushed into the hollow, lifting Chokin and the cub to the top. They clambered out, gasping for breath, as the waves surged past them. The waters receded slowly. The unhappy cub drew near Chokin as evening fell. That night, both shivered with cold and hunger. Unable to sleep, the princess gazed at the shimmering landscape. And there, in the reflection of the moon and the shadows of trees, she saw Ganakadet. Chokin marveled at the vision. She remembered how her brothers had kept lonely watch in the wilderness, praying for the appearance of Yek, the mighty spirits that granted wisdom and ability. Sometimes girls also saw these spirits and were blessed by them, but no girl had ever seen Ganakadet. Overcome with awe and wonder, Chokin fell to her knees. The moon and stars swam before her eyes, yet she smiled, for she knew that a great gift would be bestowed upon her. She was smiling still when her father and brothers rescued her the next morning. Thereafter, Choking could foretell the giant waves that marked Ganakadet's travels at the mouth of the bay. The trembling of the earth and the sound of the sea told her much, but it was the howl of the bear that meant a wave was coming. The fishermen were grateful for her predictions, because now they could travel the waters in safety. The village prospered, and the people accorded Choking great honor and wealth. One morning, Choking saw a huge black creature emerge from the mists of the bay. Its back sprouted great trees from which flapped enormous white wings. "Is this not Raven, the creator of all?" Choking gasped. She turned away quickly, for to see Raven with unshielded eyes was to be changed to stone. She ran to the village, where she found her father calming the people. "What you see is but a ship," he said. "It contains men, not unlike ourselves, from a land across the water. They come bearing goodwill and a stock of useful wonders. They have traded with villages to the south." Choking was comforted by her father's words, but she felt uneasy during the weeks that followed, as her people traded furs for the strong metal tools of the strangers. One evening, Choking's father returned from the black ship in haste. "Great danger is upon us," he shouted. "Leave your belongings and flee." No sooner had the people departed than loud booms pierced the twilight. As Choking and the elders watched in horror, the longhouses collapsed in splinters. "Why is this happening?" asked Choking. "The foreigners demanded more furs than we had," her father told her angrily. "They ordered us to trap many more. I refused, for animals cannot be hunted without mercy and reverence. And so, to punish us, they are using their weapons to destroy our homes." He turned to her. "You have been blessed with wisdom and power beyond your years. What can be done?" Choking gazed somberly at the burning village. "I shall ask the sea wolf." Those aboard the black ship did not see how the earth shook that night. In the morning, few noticed the deepening swells that slapped the vessel's hull, or the bear that began to howl in the ruined village. Then a war canoe bolted toward the mouth of the bay. Propelled by a dozen warriors, the craft carried Choking and bundles of costly fur. At once the black ship raised anchor and pursued it. There was a loud boom, and the sea erupted after the fleeing canoe. But this time, the boom was answered by a roar. The wave of the sea wolf rose like a mountain behind the black ship, and fell upon it with the fury of a living thing. In an instant, the vessel disappeared in a mass of churning foam. Then the wave thundered on to engulf the canoe. The war canoe flew on the rising crest of Ganakadet's wave, skimming the treetops as it entered the flooded forest. Choking's kinsmen, guiding the craft, could not avoid the cedar that loomed ahead of them. Their speed was so great that the prow split the tree apart. The canoe was wedged firmly in the cleft, and its occupants rode out the flood in safety. The princess and her kin returned in honor to the village. The longhouses were rebuilt, and, for a time, life went on as before. But the foreigners kept arriving. A wave of newcomers flooded the land, bringing new ways at the expense of old and transforming the very fabric of earth, sea, and sky. Seeing the end of all she had known, Choking was sick at heart. She walked in the forest to find solace. "These changes," she told herself, "are but the work of ignorant men. Ganakadet confounded these people once. Will not mightier spirits than the sea wolf, even the earth itself, prove them wrong again?" Her gaze fell on the canoe, lodged forever in the treetops, and a spark of hope kindled within her. "Until that time comes," she said aloud, "I must be like this canoe. As it once carried me to safety, so must I carry the ways of my people past this danger." This she did, and the generations between then and now have brought her wisdom forward to this very day. Thank you for joining us on today's Tiny Tide Storytime. If you enjoyed our video, please give it a like, and if you wish to continue getting more of our videos, please subscribe to our YouTube channel or follow us on Facebook at the Puget Sound Estuarium.